Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. I have a fabulous guest on with me today. Her name is Maria Gomez, and she is one of the members of our Interactive Storytelling Accelerator. And she recently published her own interactive story. And I thought we'd dig into her journey and learn a little bit more about her process, her experience, and also why she decided to craft what she did. So without further ado, Maria, so great to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Anna, for having me here. I am so happy and just amazed that I've seen all your interviews, and just to be here, it's an honor to be among such talented company.
Fabulous. Oh, that's great to hear. That's awesome. Well, I think when we talk about the project, I think you've earned your place to be here. So it's awesome. So, but before you got into the Interactive Storytelling Accelerator, before joining the community, tell us a bit about like you, where you were, and what got you here before this.
Okay, well, once again, thank you. And I just basically before, and actually still currently, I'm an educator. I'm a bilingual educator that's hoping to grow in my professional career as an instructional designer.
Awesome. So, how long have you been in the teaching industry?
It's been 16 years already.
You look good. You look fabulous. I wish.
Thank you.
I always thought that teachers would be like extremely worn. They'd be like, like presidents gain 5 years for every normal year that people gain. What would you say about that?
Well, I agree with that.
So you're transitioning from a teacher. Now, what made you want to do the transition? I know we're kind of going a little bit off script here, but why do you want to move? Why do you want to change?
I had gotten my master's degree in technology leadership. And when I got that, I pretty much put it like on the side for that moment. I kept on teaching. And however, technology has always been like a calling for me. I've always loved it and have looked into every possible way to work with technology. So when when COVID happened, everything changed pretty much. And that's when I started realizing I want to change and I want to grow in my professional career. And that's when I realized, let me look into other options as a teacher that I can do. And I stumbled across instructional design. So I really learned a lot about it and started liking it and started upskilling from there.
So it's interesting you say, because I think there's, and you might tell me if I'm wrong, but I think there's a lot of definitely overlap between instructional design and teaching. But I think instructional design brings a technology aspect. Depends where you are, but especially now, like you said, since COVID, it brings a technology aspect that is maybe not present in the same way in the typical classroom. Would you say that?
Oh, definitely. And I've learned so much about instructional design that it's so much more than what I initially thought. And I mean, I know I have lots more to learn, but I have really enjoyed just getting the whole process of designing it, trying to figure out an objective, finding that business problem and creating a story or an interactive a project or engagement to allow the learner to learn from it and take it from there.
That's cool. Yeah. So for you, it's an upskill. It's an evolution. It's your next step.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
cool.
it has
I
been.
love that. and I know you say we have a lot to learn. We're always learning, all of us, right? So
yes,
that's
sure.
That's always there. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So okay. So so one of the things is, yes, you said you wanted to upskill, but what made you actually join the Interactive Storytelling Accelerator?
Okay, so let me tell you a story.
Oh, I love this.
Yes.
Good
Well,
setup.
I came across with Devlin Peck's videos about exploring instructional design. And that's when I found a video about Sarah Stevick, and she's the one that created a group called TPLD. And this group in LinkedIn helps transitioning teachers that want to, move into corporate or ed tech companies. And one of the main features or the ways they help us is that there are people that are already working in corporate or ed tech companies as volunteering as mentors. And that's when I signed up, and I was able to get a mentor, and her name is Dina Beavers. And to answer your question, Dina is the one that she introduced me to you, because she's like, this here is an interview, a video, a link from Kimberly Go, where she actually interviews you, and she's like, look into this. She even called you a guru. Okay, so and she mentioned how, check this out, because I wanted to expand my portfolio and I wanted to make a project, but I had no idea where to start. So she went ahead and introduced me to you. And when I saw the link, I was able to experience the interactive story of Broken Coworker. And that's when I was immediately sold and I was able to contact you.
Awesome. Okay. So that's fabulous. And thank you. Is it Dina?
Yes, Dina.
Dina, and thank you, Kimberly. That's fabulous. And for volunteering like her time, that's really cool to mentor like that. That's awesome. You said that group is really taking off. Hey, like
yes.
So, what are the numbers like when you joined in that to now?
Oh, okay. When I joined, it was the celebration was that there were 3,000 members, and now there's more than 9,000. Members.
That's fabulous. So, I mean, that just tells you that there's a lot of people understand that this is an opportunity right now, and there's a lot of people transitioning. But that also means that the competition is fierce. So you want to make yourself stand out. I get it. Okay. All right. Yes. So when you first joined the program, how did you feel? Like when you started on your project, were you like fearful, scared? What? Tell me what was going through your mind.
Okay. Well, to start off, I was very excited. I mean, I knew I was going into something great. I just didn't know what. But at that moment, I was just, excited, but at the same time scared. But I always remember that quote, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. So for me, I was really like, I felt I was living. I was ready.
I love it. So, okay. Now, obviously the interactive story took a lot of work. You plowed through the content. I remember you printing off worksheets and things like that when we had our conversations. That was awesome. But tell me about now that the project is finished. How do you feel about it? How do you feel personally about having completed it?
Oh man, I feel so proud of myself. I really feel that this has been a journey that I have learned so much from. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but I had mentioned I want to complete this project in 1 month.
Yes. I was like, that's aggressive, Maria.
And little did I know that, oh my goodness, it was going to be a process. But at the same time, I enjoyed that process. Every single moment, whether it was the script writing, the everything, each moment I really enjoyed.
So tell me, as far as like, because when we first talked, you came in with an idea. You wanted to do something and you already had an idea in mind. So tell me, from when you started with that idea to the final project, how did that change? Did it change, or what was that process like for you?
Yes. Well, before I came to you with that idea, I actually had thought about, solving a problem using like how to use a new software effectively or something like that. Yeah. But everything kept taking me back to interpersonal relationships and soft skills. And as you mentioned it one time, so wisely phrased, you mentioned the hard skills are the soft skills, and I agree. I think that is something that can be applied in any place. So I really went with that. And when I came with you, I talked about personal perception as being part of my project and where vulnerability and empathy come into play. Yeah. And at that moment, it really kept the same. There were changes, of course, but the overall objective, it was the same. It was the same. And at that moment, I got that title, Difficult People. And and we are probably thinking, oh yeah, I have worked with 1, 2, or even more of those, right? But here the challenge was, what if hey, am I that person, that that is difficult for someone else, or am I difficult people, so it's sort of changing the perspective. And that project was to solve the problem of looking within our own self and finding our truth through the character and seeing things differently, so how we relate to others.
Oh, that's fabulous. So tell me the final project ended up being, give me a little bit more detail for those who haven't seen it. Give us a little bit of like an overview of what it is, and then at the end you said, you're trying to find your own truth, but more detailed wise as far as how it was developed, and then the details around it, like specifics. Give us some specifics.
Okay. Basically, this project is involving a character named Lucy, and she is the main character, where she is encountering certain difficulties in the workplace with certain people, especially one character.
Yeah.
And she's struggling to relate with that person, but at the same time, she's looking into, she doesn't realize that what she's doing is she's maybe judging before going into getting that relationship going, and so she has that difficult task of going through that challenge, which is just, seeing beyond what is happening in the workplace, and later realizing that there's more, within that person that you need to, that Lucy looks into, right? I don't know if I'm making sense, but it's more like about having situations where you're struggling. Maybe it's that promotion you thought you had, or maybe that it's that project you thought you were going to lead and it didn't take you that way, and you have to deal with certain aspects and just try to relate with others in spite of that.
Yeah, and I like that you chose. It's funny because we're always worried about, are people going to relate, because we're crafting these interactive experiences and not everybody's a Lucy, right? But I think the situations you chose, as far as, her being chosen for a project and the interactions she had, I think they're very universal. I think those, and everybody is going to relate to that struggle. Now, what I thought was brilliant was the fact that you really did make us question ourselves as Lucy. I like that a lot. It's very unique. So I hope everybody checks out your interactive experience, because I think it's so you could, I mean, it could work in any workplace, really. So that's fantastic. That's awesome. I hope you're proud. Are you proud of it?
Oh, yes, I am. Thank you. And thank you for that.
So tell me, because it was a lot more work. It was longer than a month, right?
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, anything of quality usually takes longer in iterations. And I know that you iterated on your script, you iterated on the title, there's a lot of things, right? So tell me, the work that you did, what really, as far as even just, first off, tell me what surprised you about working on the project, other than just it taking longer. What was it that to you was personally a surprise?
Well, I mean, I think that pretty much the whole journey through this project, it surprised me on how I was able to dig deep as far as my skills, like interpersonal skills, but at the same time, my professional skills, all the things that I had within me that I was able to apply to this project. So for me, even every moment, like you mentioned, every iteration, every process, as the moment kept on, I was able to learn from it. Like as I was writing it, and I realized, this is not going anywhere, or this is taking me somewhere. All that was a learning experience for me. So I was really surprised on how much, how each moment was taking me to that learning. And at the same time, looking at that big picture, I was just amazed on how this group, ISA, like all, to begin, you and Ryan have been so valuable in this journey. Like, you have helped me to like open my eyes to the big picture of why we're creating these interactive stories. Like, it's not just to a checklist or to do things. No, it takes you further. So for me, that was amazing. And then to have the feedback of such talented people and just the wealth of knowledge and experience I was able to see, it's just great. I was able to get feedback from like Terry and Masha, all those people, and the advice and help I've gotten like from Teresa Moreno. Like, they have just been so amazing, and I value it. I treasure it.
Fabulous.
Very much.
It was fun. I think one of my favorite sessions was when we jumped on. You had just made finalized some script stuff, and it was gone live, right? And we were all just kind of you weren't there, so we recorded it for you, right? But
Yes.
we would go through each decision. So that must have been kind of weird, right? Like people going through your project and then reacting. What did you think about that? Tell me.
Yes, that was
that like
actually
like frustrating or scary or what?
Yes, at the same time that it was scary, it was exciting. In a way, it was good. I was not there because I was like, I was embracing all the things you were all saying, and even the things that needed to change and all that. But the experience you were going through, so I liked how some of you were like, "Oh, this is juicy. This is good," And at the same time, okay, we need to change this, or oh, I would have picked this, or so. I really really liked all that experience. It was amazing.
That was cool. I'm glad that. Yeah, it's always difficult, right? Like the difference between should you be there for that review, and that was per luck, right? So we're like, hey, we've got it, let's do it. So that's good. I'm glad you were able to experience it with that open mindset, because it takes a lot to take that feedback and not internalize it in any way and be like, okay, it's just something I'm going to think about this a little bit longer.
And that's something I learned as well, not taking everything like personally, but at the same time, just, learning from it and moving on from there, just, okay, I need to change this. Let's move on, So that was also helpful.
That's cool. That's awesome. So tell me, as far as being a part of the community, you mentioned some things. What surprised you when you joined?
Well, I did not have any clue of how it was going to be, but I didn't realize all the support I was going to have. I was really amazed of all, like I mentioned right now, the wealth of knowledge and experience. Like, wow, everyone knows their thing, And I was just, so amazed and so proud to be in this group. So to be part of this group and also learning. And at the same time, I have contributed as well. So, I mean, it's just, something that we are all, not so much that it surprised me, but I've just been so amazed of all the wealth of knowledge and experience.
That's awesome. No, and it's cool because the more I think those people who have contributed, like that you mentioned, those people got so good because they've been contributing. You know what I mean? Because it's easier to look at other people's work than it is to look at your own. But then it informs you. So yeah, cool. And I hope you continue. So that's awesome.
Yes.
All right. So okay. So working on this project, what do you think professionally or personally was like your biggest yes, this is a win. This is a skill I can take away now. What's that been for you?
Wow, there's been so many things, but to begin with, my initial thought was that I was going to come in and learn how to use articulate storyline. That was my,
why not?
I'm gonna get that. Well, yes, I was able to learn that, but so much more by observing other projects. I was able to see the simplicity yet complex interactions that they are able to create, and at the same time you are part of it. So for me, being part of something, whether it's a project or this community, has been something I will take for forever, And personally, I was also able to, it's funny how, as I'm creating this project about personal perception, I was able to learn about my personal perception and how I see others. And that also helps me to, like others, to see and learn from what you're creating. So that, for me, that's a great takeaway, personally.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting how our projects inform us, right? Like they teach us about ourselves. That's awesome. And it's fun because you also have, at the end of your project, for those of you who will survive to the end of the project, you have a special, like you created a special guide, right? So people could, which is, tell me about that guide, right? Like what's there? Why should people go for it?
Well, once again, I was inspired by all the other, projects that you guys have in your community, and I was able to see one of the projects that I saw had a PDF at the end where you get tips on how to learn, about that, soft skill or particular situation. So for me, I really thought this can be a good way for people that struggle, with difficult people. It can be a guide for them for us to be able to help each other with dealing with those things. And for it's really a simple 3-step process where it just gives you a guide as far as how when this is happening, you try to do this, and just just advice that hopefully you can take and apply it later, for your career.
That's fun. So it's not only because the interactive story there is, it's really meant to help people maybe question themselves. Am I doing this? Is there something that I'm assuming, or am I the jerk here? And then at the end, what you're really doing is you provide feedback for them. They get to see what happens. But I think the cool part is that you don't leave them hanging. You say, okay, you feel like you've got a gap now. Here's some actions you can take. And I think that building an experience end to end like that, I think that's awesome that you did that. I love that you finished it that way. That's cool.
Oh, thank you.
It's awesome. So, okay. So definitely got articulate storyline skills. That's cool. Maybe some other just development, like as far as you said, some personal development skills, right? Like reflecting on your piece, soft skills. And
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's super cool. Yeah. Especially with Ryan.
Yes, no. And even just the process of going through each part of it. I mean, I thought that before, I thought that just, creating and brainstorming was just creating an idea and here it goes, and I thought the creating part of it, or the developing the project, was more important, where I didn't realize the story, the actual writing, the actual setting it up, the objective. I remember the first session we had with the audience, with everyone else, you mentioned, but what's your goal? And that's when I stumbled. I'm like, wait a minute, that's true. Like, what is my goal? What do I want to reach? Or what's what was it? Your personal struggle you want to go through. And it was like, that's right. And it was my personal perception. That's when we came to that realization that it was not other people that I wanted them to change. It was me, it is particularly on this project. So for me, that's something that I didn't see how important it was until I went through it, so that's been just so amazing.
Fabulous. And I know, one of the things I loved is that you jumped right in. We had, because we shared the Broken Coworker script, you were like, okay, I'm inspired. Let's go. I want to do my own thing. And then you went like, you ran with it. You were like, took the script and just did all the color coding, all the words and everything.
Yes.
And like in 2 days, you were like, I got it. Right? So you worked so hard. So no, that was fabulous. And then without that, we wouldn't have been able to get it to where it was, because you just got the process going and we started, right? So that's fabulous.
And thank you for taking it. And I know probably all the colors, probably you were like, what is happening here? But that helped me to organize in a way that you guys were able to help me. Okay, let's focus on one thing. But that was very helpful.
That's the teacher part of you coming up.
Yes.
Which is good. That's awesome. So Maria, what advice would you give to someone just joining the program?
Well, this is something that I would like to tell anyone that's just joining the program. I want to, my advice to you is just live the full experience. Like when you go to a 3D movie, and it's not the same as when you go to a theater, you put your glasses on, you sit on those comfy seats, and the sound is just, tremendous. That's the full experience, right? Same here with, being here in ISA. Just ask the questions and they will be answered, and you'll be amazed of all the answers you're going to get. Soak up on all the learning by participating, but also by being an active listener too. And I know there's so much more I have yet to learn, but just enjoy the ride, because storytelling will never end.
So, okay, tell me, Maria, where can people go to learn more about you, what you're up to, and maybe experience your interactive story?
Well, of course, you can find me on LinkedIn under Maria C. Gomez, and I am in my webpage, my portfolio site will be there on LinkedIn. But you can also reach me. I don't know if you can also are going to put the link beneath this video.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I will be more than happy to talk with you.
Fabulous. And one of the things that I love there is not only do you have the interactive story linked so somebody can go through it and get all the benefits and experience it, but also you've written up a fabulous case study about the experience as well. So if people want more details, they can dig into it there. So
yes,
awesome.
Yes.
Fabulous. So this was fabulous. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this with me today, Maria. It was really, really fun talking to you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Anna. Thank you.